Now it's time for Toker Talk Radio, the voice of the marijuana nation.
What are you people? On dope?
Where you can toke.
I inhaled frequently.
Or you can talk.
I experimented with marijuana and didn't inhale.
Or you can toke and talk.
10 federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
While we talk about toke on Toker Talk Radio.
So, by the way, when it comes to pot, if you're 40 years old, you live in a log cabin in Oregon, you got 12 giant pot plants in your backyard, have a ball.
Live from beautiful Portland, Oregon at Rolla J Studios.
Hey, this is great. Just not cannabis.
Plus your calls live at 971-533-7111.
They're walking on their pants with their cap on backwards, listening to Enema Man and Snoopy Poop Dog.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel? Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
Holland, is it real? Don't tease me.
We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years.
And now, here's your host, the guru of ganja graphics, the sultan of sativa statistics, and the worst nightmare of a reefer mad prohibitionist. A polite, perspicacious, productive pothead with a propensity for PowerPoint. Radical, Russ Belville.
All right, good day, Tokers and Tokettes, and welcome to Hour 2. It's Toker Talk Radio. It's 4:02 in the Pacific Time Zone. Time for us to let what's remaining of my hair down, loosen the tie I didn't wear today, and celebrate the oncoming marijuana equalization that we're all a part of. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting 420 Radio. Looking forward to 2015. All sorts of big things happening coming up in 2015. I can't quite tell you about them yet, but by the end of the week, I might be able to tell you. Let's just say that Mr. Russ might be getting a little more political. That's all I'm going to say right now. But in negotiations right now, we'll tell you about it this week, but I got to play it close to the vest for now. But I got to also talk about this weekend because it was championship weekend in college football. Oh, yeah. We're very, very excited about that. My Boise State Broncos won their game against Fresno State. Destruction, our buddy, he's sometimes in the chat room, but he always hits me up on Facebook. He's a Fresno State fan, so got to beat him twice this year. That was pretty exciting. So we are looking forward to Boise State they've ended the season with the highest ranking of any of the group of 5 conferences. And Boise State will be playing in the Fiesta Bowl. That, of course, is the Boise State Marching Band playing the Boise State fight song. For those of you who are new to the show, you may not know I am a Boise State alumnus. Though I never graduated, I went to school at Boise State from 1985 to 1989. In my freshman year, I was the alternate Buster Bronco mascot. There was a senior who was the main mascot, and then freshman year, I was the alternate. I was on the cheerleading squad, and I was a part of the last cheerleading squad to cheer on green turf. That's right, my sophomore year, 1986, is when Boise State brought in the famous blue turf. Boise State will be playing the University of Arizona in their Fiesta Bowl on December 31st. Boise State is already 2-0 in the Fiesta Bowl, having won the 2007 version against Oklahoma in the greatest college football game ever played. Yeah, I said it. And then in 2010 against the Horned Frogs of Texas Christian University. Let's go to our phone lines. We have got 951 area code on the air. What's going on?
Hi, Russ. This is Mike Harris from The Human Solution.
Hey, Mike.
I'd like to talk. Yeah, how are you today?
Fantastic, man.
Yeah, I'd like to talk a little bit about The Human Solution and what is going on here in California and along with some other states.
Yeah, absolutely, folks. The Human Solution's a great organization, and they're working to do prison support and court support for our marijuana POWs. So it's great work, and you should check them out. Isn't it like the-human-solution.org? Did I get that right?
Well, no, we changed our website now. It's the-human-solution.org.
Okay.
All right.
THSINTL.org.
Gotcha. THS International.
THSINTL.org.
Right on. Okay, so tell us what's happening in California.
Well, it's a little bit of some really bad news today. Today in the Los Angeles federal court, Judge Otis Wright sentenced NoHo dispensary operator Noah Kleinman to 18 years in a federal penitentiary.
My God.
It is.
What city is this?
He was running several dispensaries in Hollywood.
Okay, Hollywood.
And he was investigated by Michael Johnston of the LAPD Narcotics Unit and the federal DEA. They infiltrated his group of people with BlackBerries that had encrypted information that anything that they shared on him went straight to the federal government.
Oh my God! So they basically slipped them some bugged smartphones.
They did, and then they had all of the co-defendants except Noah Kleinman plea out, and they'll get out probably in 2 to 3 months for the same thing that Noah Kleinman was doing. But he stood up and says, "No, I was. This is something that's okay in California, and it shouldn't be illegal, and I'm going to stand up to it." And he got 18 years.
Yeah, the message being sent
into federal custody.
Yeah, the message being sent that if you fight us, we're going to squash you.
Right, and incidentally, I think the judge kind of smirked when he said the number 215, as in months that he gave Noah Kleinman.
Right, as in Proposition 215.
Yeah, he does not believe in it, and as most federal judges don't, that they feel the supremacy clause over trumps everything that's in any state. Yeah. So just for anybody that's out there that knows that California is cool or Oregon is cool, no state in the union is cool or safe as long as the federal government has controlled substance as number one, and they will prosecute to the absolute legal limit.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And there's a severe disconnect from what our federal officials tend to be saying. You know, we hear Holder or the Cole memo, and they all come out, well, you know, we're going to leave the states alone. You guys do your thing. But then these federal judges or these state, U.S. attorneys have enough, independence that they don't even care what the administration's saying and go completely against their guidelines and their wishes in prosecuting these people. It almost feels like they know the gig is up, and they're rushing to try to get as many people prosecuted as they can before it just becomes legal federally.
Yes. I agree with you there. They have increased it, and it's more political now than it has been, because most of the prosecuting attorneys, pretty much it's hard to accept something when your paycheck so much depends on you not accepting it.
That's right. Upton Sinclair, Blackboard Jungle, 1950s. We knew that was the case. Man, this is sad, folks. Get online at THSINTL.org so you can learn more about the Human Solution and help these guys out, because they're there helping these people. We read the headlines, we find that someone's gone to prison for 18 years, and that's usually the last we hear of it, but that's not the last they hear of it. It's their life from that point on, and the Human Solution is there helping those guys out. Any other words of encouragement or ways our listeners can help you out?
Well, just in the local courts and also in Arizona, we have on Wednesday, this Wednesday at Penal Courthouse in Florence, Arizona, we're asking for court support for David and Elizabeth Glazer. We're having court support December 11th in Whatcom County Courthouse in Bellingham, Washington, for Vicka Thompson. She formed the organization to free Craig Cecil. Mm-hmm. He's a lifetime prisoner in the U.S. penitentiary, and now she has brought herself into a case, and she's facing maybe 5-6 years, maybe more, and she has children that they're taking away.
Oh, my God.
Frank Marone, December 12th, at El Dorado Superior Court. This is in California, MMJ legal state since 1996. He's facing charges, and that is in Placerville, California at El Dorado Superior Court. That's Frank Marone. We've got people all up and down our calendar now, and we really need court support. So if you go to our website and find a local chapter near you, please help us stop this massacre that's going on.
Yeah, please do.
They're slaughtering us.
Yeah, this is terrible. And it's an indictment of a larger problem too, with our justice system being so reliant on plea deals and pretrial diversions and all that kind of stuff, rather than actually going to trial. They've set it up in such a way that it's incentivized for you to plea, because they don't want to use the resources and have the problem of taking it to court and having there be headlines about prosecuting a sick person and all of that. So they just want to make this go away quietly, and they do so with the leverage of these extreme sentences that are possible. One of our guys in the chat room, Jay Maestro, is saying that his judge told him if he went to trial and lost, he'd have gotten 20 years. Right. So it discourages us from wanting to participate in our justice system and even trust the justice system whatsoever to work for us. And they always come back and tell us that, well, it has to be this way. It has to be pleas, because otherwise, the court system would be too overclogged. Never stopping to think that, hey, maybe if you weren't enforcing so many stupid laws, it wouldn't be so clogged.
Exactly.
Oh man, I'm glad you guys are doing the work. Human Solution, THSINTL, THS International, INTL.org. You can get more information, and thank you for giving us a call and keeping us informed.
All right, thank you, Russ.
All
and
right.
Keep up the fight, and if you ever see Rick Steves, tell him I love Madrid.
I absolutely will. Thanks for calling. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about college football, because it's happening and I enjoy it. And we've also got some more marijuana stories coming up for you here on Toker Talk Radio. Stay tuned.
Continue the conversation with Radical Russ online. Visit radicalruss.com and email radicalruss@gmail.com.
That's right, more coming up on college football. I got to say, 2014, at least from my perspective in the inner circle of 420 Radio, was the most successful college football year ever. I'll explain why when we return. .420 Radio, your ticket to Seattle Hemp Fest.
Hey, this is Willie Nelson for Normal. And I smoke pot, and I like it a lot. I learned a long time ago that marijuana is a lot safer than alcohol. There's nothing wrong with the responsible use of marijuana by adults. It's time we stopped arresting and started respecting those who smoke marijuana responsibly. To learn what you can do to help, contact NORML at NORML.org or call toll-free 888-67-NORMAL.
Hemp Radio with Patty Cakes from Orange County, California, replaying Wednesdays at 10 Pacific on 420radio.org. 5 of the last 9 major party candidates to run for president, 3 of the last 9 vice presidential candidates, and the last 3 two-term presidents have all smoked pot. Marijuana, the gateway drug to the White House. This is the Russ Belville Show. Welcome back, everyone. 14 after the hour. It's a little burning bush with Honest Day's work, bringing us back into this segment where, I'm going to keep talking about football. Understand, Toker Talk Radio is about tokers talking. It's not always about toke. So this is one toker who's going to talk a little bit about college football, because I think 2014 was the most successful year for college football from my perspective here at 420 Radio. I already explained how my Boise State Broncos are on their way to their 3rd Fiesta Bowl in 9 years against the Arizona State Wildcats. That also means that my Boise State Broncos are the Mountain West Conference champions. It also turns out that friends of mine who are very important here at 420 Radio also support college champions. Starting with this one. That's right, Ohio State, the Big Ten champions. Also the football alma mater of our good friend Left Wing Larry, who's now back in Colorado but spent a year here living at Rolla J Studios as my roommate and my friend, so much so that we named our house the Buckin' Bronco House because it was a Buckeye and a Bronco. And while he was here, we had an Ohio State flag and a Boise State flag up in front of the house. So this one's for Left Wing Larry. And I gotta say, Ohio State's very deserving of this, man. They whooped on Wisconsin 59-0 to end the season and win the Big Ten championship. There's folks, it could have been more successful if Baylor would have made it in instead of Florida State, because that, of course, is Cliff Duvall of Waco Normal's team. But, you can't not have Florida State in the playoffs. You can't not have a conference champion that's undefeated in the playoffs. So I think it was right for Ohio State to jump into the number 4 position. I think Baylor and TCU got screwed by the Big 12 not having a championship game. And the committee kind of screwed itself by putting TCU at number 3 the week before. It never should have been ranked above Baylor. A head-to-head meeting should mean something. Baylor beat TCU. There's no reason TCU should be ranked ahead of Baylor. Head-to-head should be the number 1 thing. But anyway, Ohio State has made it into the college football playoffs. And of course, they'll be playing against Herb Thrasher's team, the Alabama Crimson Tide. So Alabama made it, and I agree they should be ranked number 1, no doubt about it. They looked really dominant all throughout the year. Their one loss to Ole Miss, I can't fault them for that because Boise State lost to Ole Miss. So it's going to be an exciting college football playoff with Alabama and Ohio State meeting up. And then, of course, if that weren't enough here in our 420 radio with Herb Thrasher's team being a conference champion of the SEC, Left Wing Larry's team being the conference champion of the Big Ten, my team being the conference champion of the Mountain West, let's not forget Ganja John. That's right, the University of Oregon Ducks, also in the college football championship as the number 2 team, facing off against Florida State, the undefeated Florida State team. So looking forward to the Ducks making their way through the college football playoffs. Going to be fun. And joining us on the telephone line to talk a little bit more about it, we got Bacon Dan. How you doing, Dan?
Hey, buddy. How's it going?
Hey, we got a minute before 4:20. What's up?
Oh, well, I just called a little early for my my phone call for the my song today, but
that's right. We're coming up on the 4:20 break. All right, let me put you back on hold. We'll get you back right after we've loaded a bowl, okay?
All right.
All right. So Oregon against Florida State in the Rose Bowl. The winner of the Oregon-Florida State game will go against the winner of the Alabama-Ohio State game. And I'm going to call it, I think the national championship game ends up being Alabama-Oregon. I'm sorry, Larry. I think it becomes Alabama-Oregon. I think Ohio State's done a great job, but on their third string quarterback, and even despite what they did to Wisconsin, I still think Alabama has what it takes to handle them, and that the national championship will be Alabama and Oregon. Now, as a winner, I don't know, man. I got to go for Oregon. I think Alabama will probably win it all, but I got to root for Oregon because, one, I live in Oregon. More Oregonians can get at me than Alabamians. And number two, I'm sick of the SEC winning championships. Let's bring that trophy out west. When we come back, we got Bacon Dan, and we'll talk about marijuana again. Stick around.
420 Radio, your ticket to the High Times Cannabis Cups.
There's so much I worry about as a mom. Stephen Harper thinks that organized crime should continue to profit from marijuana prohibition. Imagine regulating marijuana like alcohol and cigarettes with a strong and clear educational message, making it more difficult for my kids and your kids to access. Drug dealers don't ask for ID. Stephen Harper does not have the kind of judgment we need to protect our children, authorized by the Normal Women.
Get.Buzz. .Buzz is the internet platform that fuels community interest, excitement, and new experiences. .Buzz is the premier online destination for internet users seeking the latest news on a variety of topics. .Buzz appeals to groups active in blogging, communications, journalism, advertising, and marketing. .Buzz offers registrants a stronger alternative to the shrinking namespace of existing top-level domain names, such as .com, .net, and .org. Get your name now at get.buzz.
Everyone knows music and marijuana go together, so let's wind up our 20 after break with the Russ Belville Show's Daily Toker Tunes, the best in pod-safe 420 music from around the web. Today is Roots Monday, featuring the blues, country, folk, and jazz music that birthed the modern sounds we enjoy today. Now, sit back and enjoy your Daily Toker Tunes.
All right, welcome back. Time for our Daily Toker Tunes, and as you know, we've got Bacon Dan on the line. How you doing, Dan?
I'm doing great, man. And I have to say, I do agree with you. I think Oregon is going to take it. Marcus Mariota, man, he is one hell of a quarterback. I think he's got the guns and the skills to take it all the way to the championship.
All right, looking forward to that. And I'm also looking forward, of course, tonight, Monday Night Football, the Packers play the Falcons at home. But next Sunday, Packers at Bills.
Oh, yes. My invite to you to come join the Bills backers at the cheerful bullpen and see what it's like to be around. You know, you've got your Packer base. Come see how Buffalonians celebrate football.
Not only will I be there, I'll be there in full Packers regalia. Let's have a ball.
It'll be awesome.
All right. And, of course, Bacon Dan is a lover of the Christmas season. Even last month, he started throwing in some Christmas tunes. So why stop now? We're getting closer and closer. What do you got for us for Christmas?
All right, so this is where my East Coast roots are coming out, and tonight we have got the boss, Bruce Springsteen, with his version of Santa Claus is Coming to Town. This was a song that, I mean, it was always heavy rotation growing up. Of course, Clarence Clemens, you know, on saxophone. Growing up as a sax player, Clarence was like the coolest to me. And this song originally was released on a Sesame Street album, and then became so successful that it was tacked on to the special edition of Born in the USA.
Oh, I did not know that. You know, I had the original vinyl Born in the USA album. Did you know that?
That is epic. I am thoroughly impressed.
Yeah, I wish I still had it, but all right, let's get into it. It's one of the few Christmas tunes I like. You know, one of the things is growing up playing in elementary school band and high school band, you had to play the same stupid Christmas songs every year. But this is the ones I like, man. Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, definitely.
Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
It's all cold down along the beach. And the wind's whipping down the boardwalk. Hey, man! You guys know what time of year it is? What time? What? Oh, Christmas time. You guys all been good and practicing real hard. Yeah. Clients, you've been rehearsing real hard now. So Santa, bring you a new saxophone, right? Everybody out there been good or what? Oh, that's not many, not many. You guys in trouble out here. And you better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list, he's checking it twice. He's gonna find out who's naughty or nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. You better be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Ho, 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 ho. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. You better be good for goodness sake. You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town.
420 Radio, turning red states and blue states green. Growing plants indoors can be a rewarding hobby, but electricity bills can go through the roof. Then you have to cool down all those big hot lights. It can drive a grower insane. With Lush LED lighting, you can solve many of these issues and double your rewards. Matt and his scientists have developed the perfect light for flowering plants with far less cost and heat. And the results? Very effective. Check out LushLEDlighting.com right now and tell them Radical Russ sent you. 420radio.org is proud to replay Free Weed from Danny Danko with Danny Danko from Brooklyn, New York. High Times Magazine's senior cultivation editor Danny Danko answers reader questions and discusses grow tips, security do's and don'ts, and reports on the latest High Times events. Catch the replays Wednesday at 1 Pacific on 420radio.org. The law offices of Omar Figueroa would like to remind you to stand up for your rights. If you are detained or arrested, treat law enforcement with respect and stand up for your rights by repeating, "I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search and seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to speak with my attorney." Please contact the law offices of Omar Figueroa at 415-489-0420 or 707-829-0215 or on the web at
Yeah, music from Hank Williams III, Long Hauls and Close Calls. That's some hellbilly music. Alt country, outlaw country, whatever you want to call it. It's the kind of music we end up playing on the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour every Friday night at 5 and 8 a.m. and p.m. Pacific Time right here on 420radio.org. Promise when we come back we would talk a little bit more about marijuana, and I lied. I've got something to talk about that's not about marijuana per se, but it is something that's been coming up a lot lately, and that is police brutality. And I was turned on to this story today in my news search by the headline. It's coming out of the Seattle Times. And, well, you know what? Let me hold on to that for a second because I got a caller. Let's go to the phone lines first. You're on the air, 831 area code. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Russ. John Thomas.
Hey, John, what's happening?
Hey, man, I missed the first 10 minutes of the show. I'm not sure if you mentioned this great article in U.S. News and World Report by Ben Cohen of Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream.
I saw the article. I read the article. I hadn't mentioned it yet. Why don't you give folks a little rundown on what he's saying?
Well, basically, it's titled, "Who's Really Fighting Legal Weed?" and subtitled, "The Fight Against Legal Marijuana is About Big Money, Not Public Health." And it's an excellent article. I've always said that if we can change the focus from argument about health to one about the people that are actually against, doing the right thing and having justice, then we have won the battle. So it seems like it's starting to happen, and Ben Cohen of Ben & Jerry has done it. He's mentioned all the usual subjects. He's got, of course, the pharmaceuticals and the alcohol and the tobacco and the law enforcement and the prisons, and he addresses each one of them and congratulates us for beating them.
Yeah.
So it's a great article, and if you enable links or something, I can just post it at the chat.
Sure. Let me turn links on there, and you give them that link to that article, because it is a good one, and I was going to mention it on the show here. It is something that we've all been kind of aware of, well, in lots of different ways. I mean, when the Partnership for Drug-Free America first came out, it was funded by the alcohol and tobacco and pharmaceutical lobbies directly. They later divested themselves of any investment in that, but the seed money had already been planted. Once the partnership existed, then they could raise their own money. So they got their start from alcohol, they got their start from tobacco, and it even continues this day. The Community Anti-Drug Coalitions of America get a lot of their sponsorship from Purdue Pharmaceuticals, Abbott Laboratories, and so forth. Here's some Google assignment. If you want to learn more about this, look up Lee Fang, like a snake has fangs, Lee Fang, F-A-N-G, and The Nation magazine. Lee Fang wrote a great piece in The Nation that uncovered a lot of these ties between pharmaceutical interests and the anti-drug lobbies.
Great. I have to do that.
All right.
Hey, listen, I'm having trouble putting this link up here. Maybe you can handle that.
Okay. Sure. What is it?
Anyway, it's U.S. News and World Report, and the article is by Ben Cohen, titled, "Who's Really Fighting Legal Weed?" Okay.
Well, let's see if I can find that. Maybe someone else in the chat room can find that as well. And if not, I'll catch it on the next break.
Sorry about that.
Hey, that's cool, man. Thanks for calling and reminding me.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
All right. Take it easy, John. All right. So, yeah, let me get to this article I wanted to talk about, because to me, one of the things that's being uncovered lately in the American consciousness is an understanding of just how racist our police are and just how above the law they are. And this is something that I was just reading another article on Break where it was a patrolman talking about his 5 years that he worked in the police force, that he had to quit after 5 years because he was so shocked by the outright racism of many of his colleagues and their feeling of invulnerability when it came to anything that they would do. They knew that there was no accountability. They knew they could get away with violating people's rights with impunity. And it forced him to quit. So I was reading that article, and then there was another article I came up to. And again, this one's out of the Seattle Times, and I'll post the link for this one. Okay. And you remember when Darren Wilson, the cop who shot and killed unarmed Mike Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, remember when the grand jury broke a couple weeks ago? They released all the photographs, and they showed this poor Darren Wilson. Oh my God, Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys is a racist. No, Darren Wilson, the cop, they showed a picture of him from the grand jury investigation to demonstrate that he had been beaten. He'd been beaten by Michael Brown and had no choice but to respond with the violence, with the gunshots. So I just wanted to put these pictures up for comparison's sake. Okay. Now, on the left, we have Officer Darren Wilson. And the picture on the left supposedly is him in the hospital after being hit in the face so hard that it caused an orbital fracture and that he feared blacking out. Now, those of you listening can't see the pictures. Those of you who can see the picture, try and just tell me which side of the face Officer Wilson got hit on. I mean, you can't even tell which side of the face he got hit on. From supposedly demon Negro Hulk Mike Brown about to beat him into unconsciousness. Can't even see a bruise on his face. Now, the picture on the right is a young African-American woman, age 23, who was hit in the face by a cop while she was handcuffed in the back of the squad car. That, folks, is what an orbital fracture looks like. So, what's going on here in Washington, in Seattle, has seriously divided the King County prosecutors, the county prosecutors there in Seattle, versus the Seattle City Attorney, Pete Holmes. And here's where we get our marijuana tie-in. Pete Holmes famously was the Seattle City Attorney who said he would no longer prosecute marijuana crimes even before marijuana became legal, and was also a high-profile proponent of Initiative 502, appearing at many, many campaign events. Now, the case involved here. The woman's name, Mayeko Durden Bosley. She's 23, and she was intoxicated and verbally abusive after her arrest outside the home of a Seattle man whose mother had called the police. All right, so she shows up at some guy's place, maybe an ex-boyfriend, maybe a boyfriend, we don't know. Mom calls, and the cops show up. The cops show up, and they arrest this woman. And when they arrest this woman, they handcuff her. Cop handcuffs her, puts her in the back of the squad car, and then she's still being verbally abusive. She's still being profane. She kicks at him. Remember, she's handcuffed, and she's in the back of the car, and she kicks at him. She never hits him. She never does actually succeed in landing a kick. She's drunk off her ass. She kicks at him. And so the cop decides that the proper thing to do at that point is to beat the lady in the cop car. Now, all of this was captured on dash cam footage, and it's kind of hard to make anything out very well out on it, but it clearly shows him striking her. And I'm trying to find that point on the video so that you can see exactly what these cops say they had to deal with. Here we go. This is the June 22nd in-car dash video from the Seattle Police Department.
Make a threat! When did I make a threat? No, like seriously, can you please document this?
Get in the car.
I'm not going to get in the car because I did not make a threat. I did not make a threat. I really did not make a threat. No, please talk to me, please. I did not make a threat. How are you going to arrest me and I did not make a threat?
What we're going to do is we're going to take you down to precinct.
How are you going to take me down to precinct and I didn't even make a threat?
You need to calm down.
I'm calm.
You're not even trying to de-escalate here.
You're escalating this by... Fucking bitch.
She kicked me. Kick me.
Because you fucking... It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. Officer Shepard, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I'll really give you that. It's cool. It's so cool. It's so cool.
Get a sergeant here.
And that's after he's punched her in the face.
You punched me for no reason.
Don't move. Stay. Stay put. Don't kick. Do not kick.
I didn't. Oh my God, you're so funny. Oh my God. I didn't even kick you. You're so funny. You're so funny. I'm not even fighting no more, sir. I'm not even fighting no more.
Anymore, yeah.
You punched me for no reason. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take
My
that.
jaw is jacked, man.
I'll take that.
My jaw is jacked.
I'll take that.
Huh?
I'll really take that. I kicked you because he punched me in my face for no reason. But it's cool. I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah, she kicked me good, man. I ain't gonna...
I kicked you because why? Because you punched me in my eye?
Okay, let me transfer that.
Officer Shepard, you ain't shit. You ain't shit. It's cool. It's okay. I'll take the punch. I'll take the punch, bro. I'll take the punch. I'll take the punch. I'll really take the punch. Can you get off of my finger, please?
You need to relax.
I'm calm. I've been calm.
You would have broke my jaw.
Okay.
Hey, ma'am.
We're gonna put you in my car, okay?
Please put me in your car, because Officer Shepard ain't shit.
Okay.
Okay. I need to get up.
So there you have it, the dash cam video of the cops striking a handcuffed woman in the back of the car because she kicked at them. She kicked at them. Now, I'm not one here to say that you ought to be kicking cops, that you ought to be laying a finger on a cop. But where's the proportionality here? And who is supposed to be the adult in charge? The woman was handcuffed. She was in the back of the car and intoxicated. Her ability to cause any damage to anyone was severely limited. The cop who claimed his jaw was jacked up didn't even have his jaw jacked up until after he had punched the woman in the face. And it's just becoming impossible for me to understand how cops can continue to excuse and forgive this kind of behavior, but it continues to happen. The problem between the city attorney, Pete Holmes, and the county prosecutors is that the county prosecutors aren't going to prosecute. They're filing absolutely zero charges against the cop who did that to that woman's eye. So as we've learned, if you're a citizen who punches a cop, your punishment ranges from assault to the death penalty.
Don't touch that dial. We're right back to Radical Russ in just a few minutes. Hey, does anybody really have a dial anymore? You're listening to The Russ Belville Show.
420 Radio. Tune in, turn on, get highly educated.
You know Herb Thrasher from the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour. Now get ready for Herb Age Designs for the proud cannabis consumer. Herb Age Designs, lifestyle gear for the 420 friendly. Herb Age Designs, we've got Frisbee golf discs and durable hemp gear. Herb Age Designs, we've got shot glasses, drinking glasses, coffee mugs, and beer cozies. Check us out on Facebook and online at herbagedesigns.com. And follow Herb Age and Herb Thrasher on Twitter.
NORMAL stands for responsible adult cannabis use. If cannabis use is causing problems in your life, consider taking a break or seeking medical assistance. Consider ceasing cannabis use if you have a family history of mental illness. Don't drive or operate heavy machinery while impaired by cannabis use. Cannabis use is not without risks, even though the risks may be far less than those posed by legal drugs.
At Royal Queen Seeds, we've got premium feminized cannabis seeds, including auto-flowering varieties for the medical cannabis user. We've got bulk shipments available and new CBD oil. Plus, we accept payment in Visa, MasterCard, and Bitcoin, as well as other methods. Check out our website at royalqueenseeds.com for more information. We are located in the Netherlands, and we have online grow experts ready to help you now at royalqueenseeds.com.
Moonshine John, fine moonshine by the Jill. Yeah.
Welcome back. That's Peter Clayton with Blind John Davies with the Moonshine Man Blues. If you like that kind of classic early 20th century blues, jazz, and swing music, stay tuned for our next hour, 5 o'clock. We've got the new Viper Hour. Our salute to early 20th century reefer jazz, blues, and swing, the very beginnings of our marijuana culture. Check it out every 5 and 8 o'clock a.m. and p.m. Pacific Time on Mondays here at 420radio.org. Coming up next, episode number 4, Drum Boogie with Gene Krupa, the famous drummer, big band drummer who got busted with marijuana in the 40s. One of the big high-profile marijuana busts. Ended up serving time for that. I want to continue on this subject of racist cops. And, you know, I'm loath to use the term racist sometimes. Just because it invites so many comparisons and so many complaints of race baiting or race hustlers or trying to divide us, etc., etc. But I think it's important that we recognize the elephant in the room in this country, and that is we are a country founded on racism. Racism is endemic and systemic in our culture, in our systems, everywhere we go. Racism is the reason we have marijuana prohibition, cocaine prohibition, heroin prohibition. All of this based on racism and lies. There's a famous quote from John F. Kennedy, who once said, "Those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable." Think about that for a second. Those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. And I fear we may be approaching the fringes of people picking up the pitchforks and, you know, storming the bourgeoisie and calling for their heads. We are getting that close in America. And there are enough people, generally white folks, ensconced in their privilege and hidden from all of these problems that they can't see the storm brewing. And it frightens me. Frightens me on familial lines. I grew up in an immigrant neighborhood. All my friends as a kid were first-generation Mexican Americans. I grew up in a very stereotypically racistly separated town, Nampa, Idaho, where quite literally you cross the tracks and all the signs turn to Spanish. I have black teenagers in my extended family now. So I worry about this on a personal level. I remember one night when the first cannabis cafe was open here in Portland. It wasn't out on 82nd Avenue. It was over on Deacom. And I ended up going to the Cannabis Cafe, and my cousin Kenny went to the Cannabis Cafe. And those of you know cousin Kenny's African-American. And he's got long dreadlocks, right? And we went to some gig at the Cannabis Cafe. He drove his little white pickup, and I drove my car. And the place where the Cannabis Cafe used to be, Deacom, is kind of out there on the north side of Portland, near, Martin Luther King Boulevard and Rosa Parks Way, right? Can't get much blacker part of Portland. Not that there is really much of a black part of Portland. Portland, Oregon is the whitest major American city. Still, after we got done with that gig at the Cannabis Cafe, and we started taking off, we left, it was nighttime. We're driving away from the Cannabis Cafe, and I look in my rearview mirror, and I notice that one of the headlights is out in Kenny's truck. I waved him over, made him pull over, and I insisted that he got in the car with us and that we'd come back later the next day to pick up his car. Because the mere thought that my black cousin with the long dreadlocks would get pulled over for a bad headlight and things could escalate into something bad freaked me out so bad. Freaked me out worse than it freaked him out. He said, I'll be fine, it'll be all right. And it probably would have. But still, I'm thinking, coming out of the Cannabis Cafe, smelling like weed, driving while black, sporting dreadlocks, and a headlight burned out, probably not a good idea, Kenny. So it's with that in mind that I want to turn you on to this article. And I put the link in the chat room, and it comes to me by way of a writer who I really love. He's named The Rude Pundit. If you're not reading The Rude Pundit, go look him up. rudepundit.blogspot.com. And he points to an article that was written in the Washington Post. This came out 2 days ago, came out this weekend. And the title of the article is, Being a Cop Showed Me Just How Racist and Violent the Police Are. There is Only One Fix. Now, the fellow's name is Reddit Hudson. Yeah, Reddit, like the internet board, except he has two T's. Reddit Hudson, he's a former cop, and this is what he has to say. As a kid, I got used to being stopped by the police. I grew up in an inner ring suburb of St. Louis. It was the kind of place where officers routinely roughed up my friends and family for no good reason. I hated the way the cops treated me. But I knew police weren't all bad. One of my father's closest friends was a cop. He became a mentor to me and encouraged me to join the force. He told me I could use the police's power and resources to help my community. So in 1994, I joined the St. Louis Police Department. I quickly realized how naive I'd been. I was floored by the dysfunctional culture I encountered. I won't say all, but many of my peers were deeply racist. One example. A couple of officers ran a website called St. Louis Cop Talk, where officers could post about their experience and opinions. At some point during my career, it became so full of racist rants that the site administrator temporarily shut it down. Cops routinely called anyone of color a thug, whether they were the victim or just a bystander. Oh, by the way, short aside from the reading here, I had someone on the internet tell me that thug isn't a racist term, but they call all criminals thugs. So I went and did a quick Google search on white thug versus black thug. Guess which one of those gets twice as many search results? I'll continue. This attitude corrodes the way policing is done. As a cop, it shouldn't surprise you that people will curse at you or be disappointed by your arrival. That's part of the job. But too many times, officers saw young black and brown men as targets. They would respond with force to even minor offenses. And because cops are rarely held accountable for their actions, they didn't think too hard about the consequences. Once I accompanied an officer on a call. At one home, a teenage boy answered the door. That officer accused him of harboring a robbery suspect and demanded that he let her inside. When he refused, the officer yanked him onto the porch by his throat and began punching him. Another officer met us and told the boy to stand. He replied that he couldn't. so the officer slammed him against the house and cuffed him. When the boy again said he couldn't walk, the officer grabbed him by his ankles and dragged him to the car. It turned out the boy had been on crutches when he answered the door and couldn't walk. Back at the department, I complained to the sergeant. I wanted to report the misconduct, but my manager squashed the whole thing and told me to get back to work. I, too, have faced mortal danger. I've been shot at and attacked, but I know it's almost always possible to defuse a situation. Once, a sergeant and I got a call about someone wielding a weapon in an apartment. When we showed up, we found someone sitting on the bed with a very large butcher knife. Rather than storming him and screaming, "Put the knife down!" like my colleagues would have done, we kept our distance. We talked to him, tried to calm him down. It became clear to us that he was dealing with mental illness. So eventually, we convinced him to come to the hospital with us. I'm certain many other officers in the department would have escalated the situation fast. They would have screamed at him, gotten close to him, threatened him, and then any movement from him, and even an effort to drop the knife, would have been treated as an excuse to shoot until their clips were empty. I liked my job and I was good at it, but more and more I felt I couldn't do the work I set out to do. I was participating in a profoundly corrupt criminal justice system. I could not, in good conscience, participate in a system that was so intentionally unfair and racist. So after 5 years on the job, I quit. Since I've left, I've thought a lot about how to change the system. I've worked on police abuse, racial justice, and criminal justice reform at the Missouri ACLU and other organizations. Unfortunately, I don't think better training alone will reduce police brutality. My fellow officers and I took plenty of classes on racial sensitivity and on limiting the use of force. The problem is that cops aren't held accountable for their actions, and they know it. These officers violate rights with impunity. They know there's a different criminal justice system for civilians and police. Even when officers get caught, they know they'll be investigated by their friends and put on paid leave. My colleagues would laughingly refer to this as a free vacation. It isn't punishment. And excessive force is almost always deemed acceptable in our courts and among our grand juries. Prosecutors are tight with law enforcement and share the same values and ideas. We could start to change that by mandating that a special prosecutor be appointed to try excessive force cases, and we need more independent oversight with teeth. I have little confidence in internal investigations. The number of people in uniform who will knowingly and maliciously violate your human rights is huge. At the Ferguson protests, people are chanting, "The whole damn system is guilty as hell." I agree, and we have a lot of work to do. And that's the writing of Reddit Hudson, African-American man, former cop for the St. Louis Police Department. Couldn't have said it better myself. Anytime there is a death in police custody, there should be no grand jury. There should always be a special prosecutor, and there should always be a trial. All cop cars and all cops should be mounted with cameras to record all of their actions. If we don't hold our cops accountable, we will lose public trust in our law enforcement even more so than it already has eroded, and that can only lead to chaos and anarchy. That's all the time we got. Thanks for joining us. Viper Hour is next. Until next time, take care of each other, Tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
You grow it, you try it,